If your child's always angry, they're snapping, yelling, constantly melting down, what if I told you that this is not just misbehavior? It's actually anxiety in disguise. In this video, I'm going to explain to you what's really underlying your child's anger and what you can be doing differently to help your child learn how to regulate those emotions. I'm Lisa, a child behavior expert and a parent coach. I have over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. I help parents decode your child's challenging behaviors and give you science-backed strategies that will help you feel empowered in supporting your child's needs. If you're tired of walking on eggshells around your child's emotions, you're in the right place. So every day your child comes home from school and they are angry. They yell, they scream, they have complete meltdowns. You ask them one simple thing and they just start losing it on you. You ask yourself, what have I done wrong? Why is my child acting this way? Why do they constantly misbehave and give me such a hard time? It feels like every day I'm walking on eggshells with them, worried that I'm going to trigger the next anger outburst. This can feel extremely exhausting, tiring, and often it makes parents feel quite resentful towards their children. If this is you, I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that these feelings you have, and I know how guilt-ridden it can make you feel to think these things about your kids, but when your child is experiencing all this anger and so much emotion, it puts a lot of stress and tension on you as a parent. But here's something that most parents don't understand about the emotion of anger. It's actually a secondary emotion. It's a secondary emotion to feelings like anxiety, fear, overwhelm, and your child just does not know how to express it in those ways. And it becomes such a big clouding emotion over them that it comes out as anger. So just think of it this way. If your child's trying to do something, they want to do it perfectly, but they can't, they explode and it looks like anger. Or maybe every morning, your child gives you such a hard time. You know that there's nerves there. You know that they're nervous about going to school, about separating from you. And what they do is they start lashing out at you. So the morning routine becomes a stressful endeavor for you. Or it can also look like overwhelm from high expectations at school. If your child struggles academically, or they might have autism or ADHD, and the school environment is very stimulating, right? There's lots of lights, there's lots of movement, there's lots of social demands on them. This can cause them to feel very overwhelmed. And that's why teachers are reporting to you that they're having angry outbursts at school. Now, if we just look at anger as the behavior, we just see them lashing out, them melting down, them screaming. And we think that the only way to get them to stop being so angry and behaving this way is through using punishments or timeouts or threatening them of consequences. The truth of the matter is, this anger is uncontrollable for them. And if we target the anger, we're actually missing the solution, which is to target the primary emotions that I just mentioned. Because remember, when your child's having an angry outburst or melting down, they're not just trying to give you a hard time. They're actually having a hard time. And when you can remember that anxiety doesn't show up as worry all the time. Often it looks like a lot of resistance or avoidance and defiant types of behaviors. And when we try to punish or we try to control those behaviors by getting your child to sit down, miss out on recess, or go into timeout, or ground them in their rooms, this actually only fuels that secondary emotion of anger, right? We're not actually targeting the primary emotion of anxiety when we send them to their rooms. We're actually creating more anxiety for them by separating them from us. When they actually need us the most, when they're feeling anxious and worried about something and it's coming out as anger, but we think, you know what, I don't like this behavior. I don't like this angry behavior of you throwing things and yelling at me. I'm going to send you to your room so you can think about what you just did and why that's so wrong. That's actually fueling more of that anxiety, which is why you're getting stuck in this endless loop with them. So what you need to start doing differently is start seeing their anger as a signal rather than as a behavior to react to. When you see the anger, it signals to you that there's something deeper going on. There's a deeper emotion that they're feeling that they don't know how to outwardly express to you. They don't know how to tell you yet that they're feeling disappointed and anxious and worried about something. They don't know how to tell you that they're feeling so overwhelmed by all the tasks that are put on them. And when you can start making this fundamental shift, that's going to start transforming the way you respond to your child. You're going to start seeing that anger response decrease. And you're going to start seeing better communication from your child. So here's what you need to start doing first. The number one step is to start learning how to regulate yourself in those moments. I know it's really hard when your child is angry and you're getting all of these emotions and behaviors coming out. It's very easy to feel triggered by that, especially if you are tired. You just had a long day at work. You just had to go to the grocery store. Now you're cooking dinner. You have 2 other kids that you're taking care of, and then your child has an angry outburst. Of course, we're all human. We all feel emotions too. It's easy to get caught up in their emotions and get pulled into it. But here's the thing. If we don't learn how to take a pause and regulate yourself first, all you're doing is fueling that angry fire. So what you can tell yourself in that moment is, my child is angry. Remember, that's a secondary emotion. My child's actually having a hard time, and I need to help get to the root of what that emotion is. I know that's a lot to process. So you need to take the time outside of these moments to really think about this, because a lot of us as parents, we don't have time. We're just kind of feel like we're in survival mode. We're putting out fires every single day with our kids. But the truth is, to really get to a place of regulation for yourself takes hard work. It takes intentional time for you to really think about what's happening internally for you in those moments. When your child has an angry outburst and you get triggered, why do you get triggered? Ask yourself those questions. Why do I feel so out of control? Why do I feel so angry back? Why do I yell at my child? And then start to shift that perspective and remind yourself, my child's actually having a hard time. They're overstimulated, overwhelmed, and they don't mean to do this. I know my child is a good child. I know my child, right? You know that they're not always like this. They're not always angry. Something is triggering them. And so when you can have that mindset shift, it can give you that ability to have compassion and empathy for your child. Next is to validate your child's emotions before you start correcting them. So when your child's angry and you say, stop doing that, stop throwing things, stop all of this, right? A lot of the times, and I know this firsthand, it fuels that anger more. It makes your child react even more because they hate being told when they're already angry to stop doing something and to listen to you, right? They don't like that correction in that moment. That's not the way in. Like, think of it as a house and you're trying to enter through the door and they're standing there and they're angry. They're pounding at you. The answer isn't just to keep walking forward. You got to find another entrance in. Is it another window? Is it a back door? You got to find another way in to help your child, not just keep attacking them from the place that they're struggling with. So when you start to see that anger, it's being fueled because they're anxious about something. They're feeling jealous. Their sibling got something and they didn't get to have it, and it's making them mad. Validate those emotions first, right? That's you going through the side window. That's you being able to put your hand on their shoulder to go, hey, I hear you. I hear that this is making you feel quite upset. And sit with that. You don't have to rush through it. You don't have to then go straight into, but you can't do this, you can't do that. Just let them sit with that emotion with you, because that's going to help them to process it, help them to go from the anger to, actually, I'm feeling upset. You're right. I'm actually upset that I didn't get a turn. And what this does, it tells their brain that you're safe. In this moment, you're safe right now. Because what they feel when they're angry is they feel a lack of control, that their bodies are unsafe, that they're under threat. By you validating their emotions, you are teaching their brains and their bodies that they are actually safe. You're not in trouble. And I'm going to be with you through this. I'm not going to abandon you while you're having these hard emotions. Number 3 is to start looking for the patterns, right? So, like I said, anger secondary. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. There's always a buildup to that anger. And if we're not paying attention, all we see is 0 to 100. And for some kids at 0 to 100, it does go quick, but there are always patterns that you just have to be paying close attention to. What is the thing that's triggering them to feel feelings of anxiety or overwhelm or feelings of unfairness that is going to blow up into anger? So does it always happen right when they come home after school? Right? We see that a lot, especially with the families I've worked with that have kids with autism and ADHD. It's very common for kids to come home and have a complete meltdown and like anger trip because why? They had a very overwhelming day at school. For kids with autism and ADHD, school can be a very overwhelming place. It's very sensory stimulating, which we know that kids on the spectrum, they process their sensory world much differently and feel things more intensely. And also when your kids, they're socializing at school, they're interacting with kids, that is mentally draining, especially for a child who struggles with social interactions, who struggles with reading social cues. So when you couple all of those things, you recognize that your child is actually trying so hard every single day at school. By the time they come home, they open that door, they feel they're in a safe haven, right? Because you've created that safe place for them inside your home. And that's where that mask comes down. That's where they let everything out. And the moment you ask them one little thing, boom, it blows up. So what do? Look for the patterns, right? So once you start to see, well, it happens all the time after school, or it happens all the time right before bedtime, during transition times. Now is a place where we can start coming up with solutions, right? If your child's melting down after school, we need to make sure we have in place a calming routine to help their nervous system come back down so that they don't explode when you ask them to start doing their homework, when you ask them to start, tidying up their room or getting ready for their bath. You need to have proactively be putting in routines in place that are going to help their nervous system get back into a regulated state. Number 4 is to start building their emotional vocabulary. So this is connected to emotional awareness, right? Your child feels angry, they feel upset, they feel frustrated over something. But the thing is, when your children are little, your children don't connect these words to the feelings that they have. Some of them aren't even aware of the actual sensations that are happening within them. So we need to start teaching them explicitly what those feelings are, right? Does your body start to tingle when you start to feel that anger? Does your body start to get really hot, or your hands start to clench, or your neck starts to, twitch up like this? We need to teach our kids those physical sensations and also match that with what's the emotional vocabulary. Because that way, when we start to teach them that, they're going to start learning how to express it through their words, which is what we all want, right? We say it to our kids all the time, tell me with your words what it is that you want from me. Well, if they don't have the words to say and they don't really understand it, they're not going to be able to tell you, Mom, Dad, I'm feeling upset. That's not fair that, my brother got to have the popsicle and I had to have whatever, the ice cream over there. Whatever it is, your children need to learn those emotions, and that's where it comes on you. You are their emotional leaders. You're the ones that have to guide them through being in tune with those emotions, because school, they don't teach these things. They don't explicitly teach kids what are those emotions. And even if they do, even if they teach them the words, they're not integrating it within real life, right? You're the ones that experiences those daily meltdowns, the ones that see the anger, see the frustration. If they're just learning it through a textbook, but they're not learning to apply it in real life, it's not going to make sense for them. So you need to be the ones to teach them, and it starts with you. The way to start teaching them what these emotions are is by using yourself as an example. For instance, if you just came home from work and you're feeling exhausted, house is a mess, you can feel inside your chest, heart's racing. You can feel yourself getting hot because you just cleaned the house yesterday and now it's a mess again. and you want to yell at everyone. Why can't you pick up your stuff? Why do I always have to pick up after you? You take those moments as learning opportunities. Learn to regulate yourself and you teach your child. Right now, I'm feeling really upset. I'm upset because I see all this stuff all over the floor. By telling them what you feel rather than reacting from the feeling, that's what teaches emotional vocabulary and emotional awareness. Finally, practice coping when you're calm. So what this means is learning how to regulate yourself, using different practices to help you calm your nervous system down when you're not in the heat of the moment. So things like breath work. Of course, I think we've all heard this time and time again. Breathe, take a deep breath. But the truth is, there's science behind this. There's research behind this. Why do we breathe? Like, as humans, we all breathe. We take in oxygen. The breath gives us lots of oxygen. It helps to fuel our brains, right? It helps us to feel more grounded. It actually calms the nervous system down when we learn how to take proper breaths. Now, you might have already taught your kids, take a deep breath. You've tried it. They're in the middle of a meltdown. You're like, come on, take a deep breath, doesn't work, backfires, of course, right? Because breath work is a long-term game. It's something that you teach your kids consistently. And over time, as they get older, they start to learn that, yes, it actually works, right? Just think about it for yourself. The last time you got ticked off at work, the last time your partner ticked you off, what did you do? Right? Because it's regulating. But that's your adult brain being able to integrate it. As kids, we can't expect them to learn how to do that on the spot, especially in the midst of a heated meltdown. But you need to teach them these skills because over time, they will learn to integrate it. So teach them, right before bedtime is the best time. Lay down with them in bed, talk about your day, talk about what was something they were proud of, what's something they felt frustrated over, and say, today I noticed you were feeling some frustration and I felt frustrated too. So what we can do is let's learn to take some deep breaths together. We're going to breathe in through our nose for 4 seconds, hold it, and breathe out slowly through our mouths for 5 seconds. And you do that as a daily practice. Now, you can also incorporate movement breaks. Movement breaks are another great way. When you're feeling frustrated, have an argument with your partner or colleague, when you do, you pace, right? You can't just sit still to release that energy. You need to get up, start moving, start walking around. So practicing that with your child, what can they do? They can walk back and forth. You can get a stress ball, right? Have that readily available. Squeeze that stress ball. Give yourselves that deep pressure that can help relieve some of the stress that's building up inside of you. Those are really key things to start teaching your kids. Now, these are some strategies that you can start implementing literally today, literally right now, to help your child start learning how to regulate those big emotions, those emotions of anger and frustration and upset. Now, if you really want to understand more deeply about what is the root of my child's emotional dysregulation, because they just seem to get dysregulated so often, I can't seem to figure out what exactly, I can't pinpoint what's actually triggering all of this. My course, From Chaos to Calm, helps to explain it all. I've broken down 5 fundamental pillars of emotional regulation. And when there's challenges in any of these 5, that is the place you need to start working on, to start building more regulation and to helping fulfill needs and underdeveloped skills that are causing them to be dysregulated in the first place. And through learning how to calm all this chaos and dysregulation, what you're going to find is you're going to start building a better connection with your child. All of those meltdowns, all of those anger outbursts, I know it can create a lot of power struggles and a lot of disconnection. But through my course, you're going to learn different techniques that is going to teach you how to help your child through the dysregulation, how to pinpoint them ahead of time before they even happen, and also how to rebuild that connection again. because that's the most important thing out of all of the things we're saying right now. Yes, we want our kids to not be angry anymore, but at the end of the day, what we want is kids who feel safe, who feel connected within your family, because that's what you are developing right now. You're creating a strong family system for yourself so that you guys can all live harmoniously together, where you can get along with one another, you can enjoy your time being together as a family. Because that's what it's all about. This is why we have kids, right? This is why we've decided to have families, because we want to be able to nurture our kids and have strong connections with them, see them grow up into healthy human beings who are going to be able to make great relationships with other people one day. So if you're ready for this transformation for yourself and you're ready to learn more about how to develop your child's emotional regulation, you can find all the information about my course in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.